This is a full spine class, and we're going to start standing. Standing on your mat, doesn't matter where, and feeling into the full footprint of your feet, both of the feet. And if it helps for a moment to close your eyes, you're welcome to do that as well, or just sort of lower the lids a little bit and let your attention really move inwards. And as you feel and perceive the soles of your feet, start to become a little more aware of your breathing and aware of which parts of your torso are moving with the breath. And then noticing if the body is shifting here and there a little bit. Maybe there's a gentle sway as your body kind of recalibrates to the forces of gravity. And then let your body weight shift a little more intentionally. You can feel free to open your eyes a little bit more if you like. So you're moving more from the ankles forward and back, feeling the feet activated, feeling the shins activated, feeling the toes getting activated. And then resting on the full footprint, let's spread the toes out. And at the same time, let's spread the fingers out. And then as you make a fist with your hands, you're going to make a fist with your toes and feet. So you're going to scrunch up those toes as you make a fist and then extend again and scrunch them up and extend and scrunch them up and extend and scrunch them up. Good, and release. And so standing on your right foot, take your left knee up towards the height of your hip, and we're going to roll that ankle joint in a circle. And at the same time, you can roll your wrists in one direction. And then we'll change direction and roll the opposite way. And then release the left foot down and step down onto that left foot, bringing the right knee up. And then rolling the ankle joint and again rolling the wrists in one direction. And this is probably where your furry creatures are going to come to your mat because they just love it when you get on your mat. And then we'll go rolling the other way. Good. And stepping down with that right foot. Great. Good. Let's take the knees, the feet a little wider, so shoulder width apart and the knees closer in. So we're going to bend the knees and tuck the tailbone down. So we're in that sort of power stance with the feet a little wide, pigeon-toed, and the knees pointed in. Great. And then dropping the tailbone down, find the awareness of your lumbar spine. We're going to sort of lengthen that up. So you're starting to reach up through the top of the head and draw a little bit in through those abdominals. And we'll take the arms out to the side and start to translate the ribs back and forth across the top of the pelvis. Keeping your mind in your body, noticing all the sensations. And then as we do that, let's start to bring some rotation into the arms. Inwardly rotating one arm, externally rotating the opposite arm. Still keeping that pelvis stable, tailbone tucked down. Good. And let's pause in the center. And then let's take the arms up over the head just for a change. And we'll take the ribs into a circle. So notice how much this changes your ability to hold that pelvis in a neutral place. And then we'll drop the arms down to the side so they're like a T shape, and we'll rotate that circle in the opposite direction. So just circling the ribs. Great. And then let your arms rest down and bring your feet so they're side by side again. We'll come to the back of the mat and we'll take a deep inhale breath, taking the arms up overhead, and then exhale a swan dive down. And you're going to walk your hands forward so you're in a downward dog position. And once you're there, I want you to bend the knees so that you can really feel that your spine can lengthen. So your knees are bent and your spine feels long. And take a notice of your lower front ribs. And if they're really kind of sticking out, just gently draw them back in so you feel more of your length in your spine. So it's not hinging you at that lower T spine. And then I want you to keep the position of the pelvis, keep the position of the spine, and just straighten back one leg at a time. So you're going into sort of stretching one leg back for a couple breaths and then releasing and stretching the other leg back so you can feel a nice length through the spine as you stretch one leg at a time. Good. And then walking your hands forward, let's come into a plank. And to get the blood moving a little bit more, we're going to do like a slow kind of low impact burpee. So from that plank, I want you to step your feet forward towards your hands and then come up to standing and reach your arms up over the head. You can even give yourself a tiny little low impact hop if you like. And then drop yourself down again, hands to the floor, stepping your feet back. And then stepping your feet back up again. Stepping and reaching your arms up. Good. Stretch up. And one more time, we're going to come down. Reach the legs back. Step them forward again. And take them up one more time. And then one more exhale, lowering down. And coming down to sit on the mat. And sitting down around the middle of the mat. And bringing your feet into like a legs into a diamond position. So the soles of your feet are reaching in towards each other. And take an inhale to sit tall. And then on your first exhale, you're going to round down and back until you're lying back to the mat. Trying to keep your feet down and trying to keep your feet together. And then as you inhale, you're going to roll back up to seated. And exhale, roll forward so your head goes over towards the feet. Inhale and come back up to seated. And next exhale, you're going to roll all the way back, tucking your tail under. And then as you inhale, you're going to roll slowly right back up. Good. And then exhale, roll forward gently over the feet. So your head is coming towards the feet. Good. And then back up to center. Good. Taking your left hand to the floor beside you. Take your right arm up and over for a side bend. And as you side bend, you're breathing into your side ribs. And then taking your right hand down to the mat or to the floor and taking your left arm up and over. Taking 2 or 3 breaths into the ribs. And releasing the left arm down. Great. Okay, coming back to lay down on the mat. So you're lying down around the middle of the mat and making sure that you have enough space behind your head so that you can stretch your arms out without bumping into something. And from here, we're going to move into our first ELDOA. So first we'll get a little sense of the arms. So I want you to bring your feet flat to the floor so your knees are lifted, like your knees are bent, and feet are flat on the floor. So with your feet flat on the floor, let's take those arms up like an 11 up towards the ceiling and externally rotate them and flex the wrists, stretch out the fingers, feeling how your myofascial system feels today in and around the bones of your arms and hands. And then let's soften the hands, soften the elbows, and stretch up again. Externally rotate, flex the wrists, stretch out the arms, and start to lower the arms so they're now down on the outsides of the hips. Perfect. And then start to lengthen the crown of your head back and draw down through your upper and lower abdominals. Good. I want you to feel that your spine is anchored down at the sacrum, at the low ribs, at the shoulder blades, and right at the moment at the back of the head. And so keeping those anchor points down, taking your right knee towards your chest. Nice. And then your left knee towards your chest, and you're going to flex your feet at the ankles, both evenly. Good. And with your arms externally rotated, start to push your palms forward in space, making sure they're down below the thighs a little bit, beside the hips. Perfect. And start to roll yourself up off the mat like you're doing a sit-up. And you're going to roll your eyes to look down as you push your palms forward. And you're going to start to reach the back of your head back in space away from the knees. And the more you draw your knees towards your chest, the more challenge it's going to feel, more challenging. Maintaining your breath, you're coming up to the bottom of your shoulder blades and reaching back at the base of the skull. Last few breaths here, rolling up to the base of the shoulder blades, stretching out through the fingers, pressing those palms forward, eyes rolling down into the head. And then on your next exhale, slowly relax your arms and let your hands come back to support your head as you lower to the floor. Good. Let's take those arms back forward in space, so they're now just below the knees. And then here we go. You're going to reach back through the crown of the head as the palms press out at that angle, this new angle. And you're trying to gently, but with each exhale breath, somehow figure a little bit more length in that spine, in that C spine. So we're reaching down, and the chin is feeling like it's moving in towards the throat as that crown stretches back. Keep lengthening your tailbone away from the crown, stretching out through the fingers one more time, making sure you're breathing. And then gently release the arms, relax the feet, and relax the spine. Good. Next one, we're going to take the arms straight up towards the ceiling, finding your external rotation, and taking your knees one at a time up towards the chest. And as you flex your feet back, flex your wrists, and start to push those arms up. So this is called antepulsion, just in case you didn't remember the term. And as you antepulse the arms, you're going to gently bring the head a little bit off the floor, just about a centimeter, barely a centimeter. Making sure that if you just quickly peek at your arms, make sure that your hands and arms are not coming in closer than shoulder width. Yes, perfect. So you want to make sure that they're separated as you breathe here, and looking down with your eyes and slightly lifting the head and stretching the crown away from the tailbone. Good. You're strengthening your neck, making sure that your low back ribs are down, and you're breathing and expanding out to the sides through those low back ribs. Last 2 breaths here. On your second exhale, soften your arms, let your head come back down to the floor and relax for a moment. And then we'll take the arms up again, parallel with each other, externally rotated. Flex the wrists back, open out those fingers, and then draw your arms back towards the ears, only 45 degrees. So you're coming halfway towards the ears, and then anchoring your spine. Let's take one knee off 1 foot off the floor at a time and knees towards the chest. Good. And as you're breathing here, you're feeling that it's probably a very different experience. Through your shoulders, as you're breathing, feeling the movement in your shoulder blades as you externally rotate. Making sure that your feet are even with each other and both feet are flexing back evenly from baby toe to big toe edge. Last big stretch through the crown. And on your next exhale, you can slowly soften your arms, let your head come back down. And then you're going to take your arms down by the sides again towards your hips. Perfect. And finding your spine, draw your knees towards the chest and looking down towards your thighs. This time we're going to keep the head down for the first little bit. So it feels kind of like that first one we did, but this time you're working lower, much lower down through your C-spine, near the bottom of your C-spine. And as you press forward, keep working on lengthening back. Good. Maintaining nice calm breath and a relaxed jaw. Engaging through your tricep muscles. Slightly lifting the head off of the floor if that feels available to you. Good. And reaching back again for the last 3 breaths. And on that last exhale, slowly soften your arms. Let your head rest back to the floor and drop your feet down. For the next one, we're going to start working into the T-spine. So we are entering T-spine territory, and we're still on the back for 2 more postures, 2 more exercises. Taking your arms up towards the ceiling. Good. Let's just try entering a little differently today. So we're going to externally rotate. Feel free to roll your wrists a couple times if you need that. And then take your arms out into a V. Perfect. And then take the V back so your arms are almost to the floor on either side of your ears. Perfect. And let's bring those arms back up slowly. And just take a notice. You're going to take those arms back up into space again. Just notice when you lower them down, can you anchor those low ribs back down to the floor as the arms come down? Good. And then let's slowly take one knee towards the chest at a time and draw the crown of the head back towards that short edge of the mat behind you. And making sure your feet are as wide as your knees and flexed at the ankles. Perfect. Good. And again, when you feel ready to, you can always start to lift that head a little bit off the floor, just enough to give you that sense of having the space to find a little more length. Making sure your arms are turning out. Your arms are nice and strong. Wrists are flexing back, pressing strongly out through the palms of your hands. Last exhale, and slowly soften the arms, let the head come down, and feet relax to the floor. Taking a breath here. And now we're fully going into the T-spine, taking your arms up towards the ceiling like an 11. Externally rotate. And as you push up towards the ceiling, notice what happens in the neck. Notice what happens in the low back ribs. And start to reach your arms down beside the ears. And they're still going to stay parallel with each other. Perfect. And one at a time, draw the knees up to the chest. And flexing at the feet. Good. Pressing back. Stretch your tailbone in the direction your soles of the feet are facing. It's really a deep inside job to feel your body doing that. You're feeling your pelvis broadening in all directions from the sacrum, keeping that sacrum down, tailbone reaching, upper body reaching the opposite way. So you're thinking about drawing all the soft tissue all the way up through your chest and neck and all the way up and out through those arms as you press. Last exhale breath, and then exhale and soften. Great. Taking a breath here. When you feel ready, make your way back up to seated. All right. So we're going to come onto the hands and knees, and you're going to place your knees so they're probably about 2/3 back on your mat, and your feet are going to be, toes are curled under, and your feet will be almost right at the end of the mat. So you have enough space for your arms forward. And for your upper T-spine, let's do a little brief practice. So as you inhale, I want you to roll your eyes up through the head and lift your chin and let your breastbone follow. So you're sort of dipping your T-spine down towards the floor on the inhale, and on the exhale, you're doing the opposite, lowering the head and pushing the T-spine up towards the ceiling, and do that 2 more times, following the rhythm of your own breathing. Good. And then when you do your next one, we're going to set up the spine and set up this next exercise. So you're going to come down onto your forearms. And when you do that, I want you to flex your wrists back. It's going to feel a little bit awkward, and you're going to rest the pinky edge of your hands onto the floor. And as you do that, the tips of your fingers are pointing in the direction of those top corners of the mat. And with your elbows fixed on the floor, let's draw that tailbone down, and we're going to find the length in the spine. So we're going to draw the tailbone down and back, lift the lower abdominals. So you're drawing up the lumbar, soften the T-spine down just a little bit in space. Perfect. And then tuck your chin a little more than you might think you need to, and then lift the back of your neck and the back of your head away from the mat. Beautiful. And then as you shift your body weight back in space, you're going to keep the pinky edge really anchored to the floor. So you're not going to let those hands slide back, but those shoulders are going to feel this. The upper back is going to feel this, and you're going to feel your arms straightening over time even more. And it might feel like you're having your arms almost on either side of your ears right now. Beautiful. Tucking your chin a little bit down. Soften your heart center forward. So there's something in us that needs to be softened as we do these exercises that require intensity. So we're still somewhat relaxed in our nervous system, breathing calmly. Last couple of breaths, reaching that tailbone back, lifting up the back of the head. Exhale and slowly let your elbows come back down to the floor. Good. And you can come back to sit on the heels. Awesome. Great. So working down a little more through that upper T-spine, we're going to come to the hands and knees. And if you feel ever that the resting on the wrists that way is too intense, you can make a fist and rest on the sort of those knuckles. Aligning your knees under your hips and your wrists under your shoulders. Let's turn the right hand out to the side so the fingertips point out. Perfect. And then give yourself that sort of T-spine drop down and lift up so that you feel the movement through those shoulders, shoulder blades. So dropping the heart center down and then up. So you're going to feel like the hinge, these shoulders are like sliding up and down in space. Perfect. Okay. And then slightly dropping that T-spine, let's lift the lumbars. Tuck the chin so you can feel your crown stretching forward. So the more you lift the back of your head towards the ceiling, the longer your spine gets through that C-spine. Beautiful. Let's take that left arm straight back beside the left hip and externally rotate the left arm. Perfect. As you reach back through the palm, lift your lumbar spine, soften your T-spine, lift your C-spine. Great. Maintain your breathing and allow your eyes to roll down so they just look down. Good. Slightly soften the left shoulder towards, yes, good. And see if you can just get a little tiny bit more lift in just the arm. Just the arm. Yeah, it's really, really challenging. Last 2 breaths here. Gonna hold. And on your second exhale, slowly soften that left arm down. And then we're gonna replace either the left fist or the palm down. And if the palm is down, the fingertips are gonna point out to the side. Great. And finding your spine again. Softening the T-spine, reaching the crown forward, and taking your right arm back. Externally rotating, good. And you're going to perceive the side of your ribs, doing your best to ensure that both sides of your rib cage are as long as the other side. So both sides are equally lengthening. You can even imagine someone has their hands, maybe I have my hand, or you have your own hands on your rib cage, and we're lengthening that rib cage. Maintaining your breathing. Slightly dipping the shoulder down, lifting up through the arm. And on your second exhale, let your right arm come back down. And take a moment to breathe. If you need to sit down and take a break, that's okay too. All right. So our next one, we have 2 more of these on the hands and knees. And you're going to turn that right hand. So we're either on the fist or fingertips pointing out. And let's find that spine. Something you can do also is if you ever have if you want to just check your own alignment, if you ever have like a small mirror you could put down kind of below your face, you can always look down and see, oh, is my chin aligned with my neck? Like, so you can see sometimes there's a little head turn. So if you're practicing at home, you can always use a little mirror down on your mat just to check your upper spine alignment. And when you're ready to here, you're going to float the left arm up and into a V close to the ear, 45-degree angle or so away from the ear. Perfect. And lengthening now. So you're finding, just checking in with yourself, where's your body today in relation to this exercise? That's it, trying to keep your jaw relaxed. You're finding your shoulder blade and collarbone and reaching out, pushing the palm, stretching and lifting just the arm slightly higher, reaching the crown, tailbone reaches backwards. Support your lumbar spine, lifting your upper and lower abdominals. And then on your next exhale, slightly soften that left arm, lower it down, and replace the hands. We're going to take that left one down to the floor. And when you're ready to, bringing the right one up at that 45-degree angle. Good. Sometimes it can be helpful to just imagine you're in class and the instructor has their hand gently on the lower edge of your jaw, maybe, And you're imagining that gentle lengthening, encouraging your whole head to stretch forward. Yeah, tucking your chin a bit more. So just that crown, perfect. And as you reach your arm out to that angle, push the palm, find that nice circle on the palm of your hand, tucking that tailbone down. Last couple of breaths, almost there. On your second exhale, let your right arm soften down. And if you need to take a break for a moment, take a breath here. And then we have one more on the hands and the knees. Okay, so coming back to the right arm on the floor, let's turn the right palm back out so the fingertips are out to the side, or else you're on the wrist, or on the fist, I should say. And then this time, once your spine is set up, lifting the lumbar, soften the T-spine, find that lemniscat, and taking your left arm slowly up in space, right beside your left ear. Yes, perfect, straight forward in space. And letting that sort of that upper left side of the shoulder drop a little bit down. Yes, perfect. And again, feeling that the side of your waist, both of them are equally long. Good. So really holding and supporting that lumbar spine, slightly tucking the chin, maintaining your breathing, slightly lifting that left arm, dropping through the shoulder down. Awesome. Yes, beautiful. Open up those fingers one more time, and then on your next exhale, you can soften and let your left hand come down to the floor. And then when you're ready to, we're going to take the right one up slowly beside the ear. And as you're breathing, find that upper arm, turn the upper arm bones outwards, making sure that your head is not migrating towards the right arm. Yeah, good. And a little more tucking the chin. And then finding that whole shoulder area on the right side and dropping that down a little bit more. Just the shoulder area. Great. Good awareness. Yes, beautiful. Last couple of breaths here. You're going to open out those fingers. We're almost there. On your second exhale breath from here, you can let your right arm soften down and rest back onto your heels. Take a couple of breaths. Great. Okay, we're going to come down to a seated position for our mid T-spine. For these ones, you can always use a wall if you like as a guide. If you ever want to check things out, you won't necessarily get quite as much of a lengthening ability at the wall, but it can definitely help you with finding more of that alignment and straightness. So with your knees crossed, legs crossed, push your outer knees down towards the floor and find your sitting bones. And hollow your belly and draw your T-spine a little forward gently. Good. And your C-spine back in space. So if you want to take your pointer fingers to the occiput, the hollow at the back of the head, gently encourage that little hollow area higher up. Good. And then take your arms out, maintain the spine, palms facing the ceiling, and draw your arms up overhead and touch the fingertips together. So as you're breathing, you're bringing your arms together overhead. Good. Palms are touching if possible. And you're reaching up as your eyes look down towards your cheeks or down into the lap. Good. And as you stretch yourself upwards, keep reaching up. Yes, with your upper body. Your lower body is grounding and reaching down. The outer knees push down continuously. The arms are reaching up. You're trying to send your breath into your side ribs and your back ribs. Maybe finding a little bit more length right up through the top of your head. Yes. And then on your next exhale, you can let your arms soften and let your spine and legs soften as well. Good. Okay, for our next one, you're going to take your feet to the floor so your knees are bent. And we're going to draw those heels as close to your hips as you can. And you're going to wrap the arms good right around the shins and sort of hug yourself in close and lift the crown of your head. So whole spine lifting straight up. And let's give the feet a couple of inches between the feet. Perfect. Good. So you want to engage the legs so that they can help you to maintain that long spine. So if you feel your thighs rolling in and your knees rolling out and your ankles rolling in a little, you're going to keep the arches of the feet kind of reaching towards the floor, the ball of the foot pressing down. If you're able to, you can lift your big toe off the floor and find your T-spine and just draw that breastbone tiny bit forward towards your knees. Good. And then taking your chin and C-spine back. Awesome. If you feel like you can let go, you can either maintain your arms around your legs for as many classes as you like. And when you feel ready to, you can hold your spine. You can let go with the arms and reach the arms into a big V. Yes, externally rotated and wrists flexed back. And you're going to find the sort of that point of energy through the palms and really reach out. So find your mid T-spine with your mind, with your brain. And as you externally rotate, feel that part of your spine engaging and getting stronger, and it's going to send the energy out through the palms. Perfect. Keep rolling those thighs inwards, knees outwards, ankles in, and stretching the crown a little higher. Good. Looking down. Last couple of breaths. On your second exhale from here, you're going to soften your arms down, let your legs relax, and spine relax. Good. This next one, you're going to take your feet a tiny bit more forward than they were in the last one. So it's a little easier to sit up straight in this one. So you have about 90 degrees under your knees here, and still keeping your knees and feet a couple of inches apart. And you still want to feel a bit of the engagement through the legs. And this time we're going to take the arms forward in space. Good. Find your sitting bones. You're going to commit to the sitting bones, draw the lumbar back, T-spine forward, C-spine back, and then slide your arms up together or one at a time beside the ears. Good. And push the palms straight up to the ceiling this time. And with your eyes looking down. Good. Just take a notice of where the breath wants to go. If it wants to inflate those front low ribs or the chest, keep sending it down further to the sides and to the back so that all of your torso is receiving this big, beautiful breath. And feel like each inhale breath lifts and stretches you higher. Good. And each exhale grounds down through your lower back. 2 more breaths here. Slightly drawing the arms in towards the ears, just a little bit. Good. And then when you're ready to now, soften your arms and soften your legs and spine. Great. All right. Take your legs back so your feet are back to the floor, knees are bent. And you're going to keep your right foot on the floor and flex the left foot at the ankle and just slide it straight forward so it's straight in front of you. With your sitting bones still in the place they are, you're going to find your internal rotation of your left leg now. And if your leg is kind of going in towards the center line, I want you to make sure that the outer ankle is more or less in line with your outer hip. So you're going to just, perfect, yeah. And as you internally rotate the left leg, let's take both arms out into a V. So find some inversion through your left foot, which means big toes reaching up towards the belly button. And you're going to push your heel forward. So your left leg is nice and straight. And you're going to keep anchoring your right base of the big toe to the floor. And you can either hold this position with both arms and feel the lengthening up through the rib cage and spine. And once you feel you can maintain that sense of spine and rib cage length, if you wish, you can start to let your left hand drop down so that it rests palm facing up onto the thigh. Good. So sometimes what happens when we do these one-sided exercises is the arm that's relaxed, we start to get a sag, and that side of the rib cage gets shorter. So we want to really keep that length on both sides. Good. Maintaining the breath, eyes are looking down. Keep internally rotating your left leg and pushing out through the heel as you externally rotate your right arm and push out through the palm. Last breath here. On your exhale, slowly soften, and then bring both of your feet flat to the floor. Find your sitting bones. Anchor down through your left base of the big toe, and then flex your right foot and slide that leg forward. Good. Going to internally rotate your right leg this time. Turn the right big toes towards your big toe, I should, because you don't have more than one big toe. Your one big toe towards your belly button. And then let's take both arms into that V and draw the lumbar back. T-spine forward, C-spine back. When your eyes are rolling down into the head, we're starting our time here. And give yourself a couple of breaths to really feel the lengthening. So when you feel you've created the longest feeling from your tail to the crown, you can slowly practice letting that right arm float down, palm facing up, and just resting gently on the right thigh. And again, going in to perceive what kind of angle, what kind of action is happening as you push the right heel and left palm at these angles. Good. Giving yourself a little more inner rotation through the leg, outer rotation through the arm. Last breath. And slowly let everything soften down. Good. And then let's take the feet back to the floor again. So the knees are up. Good. And this time you're going to keep your right foot on the floor. And this time the left leg is going to extend straight forward. But this time you're going to move it out at a wide angle. Perfect. Good. And then same thing. So your left leg is going to turn in. Imagine you're turning that left inner thigh in towards the floor, flexing back the ankle, big toe turning towards the belly button. And just take a notice of the rib cage. You're still facing forward here. And find your sitting bones growing up tall from there. And this time taking the arms straight up towards the ceiling like an 11. And here we go. So looking down, reaching straight up, externally rotating the arms, flexing the wrists. When you feel you're ready to maintain that length, you can let your left arm very slowly soften down, palm facing up. Great. And you can even practice lifting your right big toe off the floor, grounding the ball of the toe down, and finding a little smile on the face, maintaining your breathing. Good. Really flexing that left thigh, flexing the right tricep. Last breath here. Turn your leg in, turn your right arm out. And on your exhale, slowly soften. And we're going to bring both feet to the floor again. Good. Anchoring the right foot, or anchoring the left foot rather, and stretching the right leg forward and then out to an angle. Good. Okay, finding your internal rotation. So turning the right leg in, flexing the foot at the ankle, big toe towards the belly button. And finding both arms. Let's come forward from the shoulders. Externally rotate and straight up towards the ceiling. Good. When you feel like you've got that length happening, you can slowly let the right hand come back down. And so just being aware too of the head so that it's not coming towards that upper arm. So you're going to just slide the head a teeny bit towards that right shoulder. Good. And keep reaching up nice and tall. Good. Maintain that left base of the toe on the floor. Push forward more through that left or right heel and lift up higher, arm towards the ear of that left hand. Last breath here. When you're ready to, you can release on the exhale. And beautiful. Take a break here for a second. Okay, so now we're at that borderline here at the base of the T-spine and the beginning of the L-spine. So we're going to start with the feet flat on the floor again, and the knees are bent. And this time, your right foot, we're going to, okay, let's do this. Let's flex both feet. And now you're going to let your right knee just drop out to the side. Perfect. Your left leg is going to come straight forward. So you're going to stretch the left leg straight forward in space. Perfect. And you're going to, so you're externally rotating your right hip here. And now you're going to turn your left leg in. Perfect. Internal rotation through the left, external through the right. Turn the left big toes towards your belly button and flex both ankles. Great. Finding your sitting bones. You're going to take your both arms up into a V. Perfect. And draw your lumbar spine a little bit back and your T-spine a little bit forward. Nice. And your C-spine a little bit back. And once you find your length here, you can very softly float, float, float your left hand down and let it rest again on your thigh. Beautiful. It's so a dynamic, it's not a static posture, it's super dynamic. So you're always feeling lots going on. There's always lots of little things to do. Lots of spirals, turning in the left leg, turning out the right leg, turning out the right arm, stretching both sides of the ribs up, reaching up. Imagine someone's gently lifting the head from the base of your jaw, the base of your skull, all the way up. And then exhale your next breath and soften it down. And we're going to switch sides. Okay, so flexing both feet. So your feet are flat on the floor again. And you're going to just let your left knee drop out to the side and stretch your right leg forward. Good. Finding your ELDOA spine. And when you're ready to, let's try it a different way, getting into our arms here. We're going to take them out into a T this time. Externally rotate, so palms face the ceiling, flex the wrists, and draw them up beside the ears. Great. And when you find all of that length, you're going to you can keep your arms up here for a couple of breaths, or longer if it feels right. When you feel like you're in that nice lengthened position, play with letting that right arm soften down. Great, very nice. What's amazing is over time, when you practice, you have the ability to feel into and do a lot of little auto corrections for yourself. So you're doing beautifully. Turn the right leg in, left leg out. Turn the left arm out, push the palm, push the heel. Last exhale. And release. Great. And we have one more of these one-sided ones to do. So once again, take your feet to the floor. Feel your sitting bones and try not to let them shift as we set up the legs. So we're going to flex the both ankles, let that right leg turn out again. So that right outer knee moves towards the floor, good. And then the left leg is going to come straight forward and then out into a wide angle. Good. Turning the left leg in, toes towards the belly button. And we'll take the arms up by the ears. Great. And drawing the C-spine a little bit back, beautiful. Stretching up nice and tall. Externally rotating the arms. When you're ready to, you can let the left hand float down and rest here. So much is happening in this posture. Both of the ankles are flexing. You're keeping your left arm nice and soft if it's down. Nice. So as you draw the back of the head towards the back a little bit, you're going to stretch it up a little higher up. Good. And try stretching it right from the base of your shoulder blades. Last exhale here. And let everything soften. We're going to bring the feet to the floor again. Flex both feet at the ankles. Let the left one turn out now. Stretch the right one forward and out at the wide angle. And try to bring the back of that right leg towards the floor. So your thigh is engaged, very strong leg as you turn it in. And toes towards the belly button. Lumbar is pulling back. T-spine forward, C-spine back. Nice. And when you're ready to, let's take those arms up beside the ears. Great. And as you're stretching, your eyes are looking down. When you feel like you can maintain all of that length, let your right hand, right arm soften, slowly down, beautiful. Building all this deeper and deeper awareness every time of your body. Turning that right leg out, right leg in, left leg out. Good. Notice if that left arm is sort of falling down, beautiful. Keeping it up close to the ear, chin down, eyes rolling down, last 2 breaths. On your second exhale, let everything soften down and release. Great. Whew. That's a lot of work. Okay, we are officially in lumbar spine territory now. Okay, so we're going to sit down on the sitting bones. And again, you can always use the wall if you need to, or the back of a door. And you're going to stretch the legs forward, straight out forward, and they're going to be about hips width. So you have enough room to turn in so your toes are not going to collide. Perfect. And finding your sitting bones, you're going to reach forward through those heels, which will engage your abdominals, helping you to sit up stronger and taller. Good. And as those legs rotate in and push out through those heels, turn the big toes towards your belly button and draw your T-spine forward, C-spine back, getting nice and tall. Good. Take your arms out to the side, palms facing up, rotate outwards. Good. Flex the wrists and draw up, right up close to the ears. Now press up towards the ceiling as your heels push out. Good. So find the breastbone and find the back of your breastbone and imagine that all of this is connected to the breastbone and then it's connected to the sacrum. And so everything that you do, the rest of your body is feeling it through this interconnected web. Turn your legs in, lengthen them a little bit more. Turn your arms out and lengthen them a little bit more. Good. Draw your arms a tiny bit closer towards the ears. Beautiful. Last 2 breaths. On your second exhale, let everything soften down. And then you're going to take your legs nice and wide. Good. Finding your sitting bones. Here we go. All right. This time, taking your arms out to the side. And you're going to bring them again up towards the ears. And turning your legs in. Flex the feet at the ankles. And turn your toes towards your belly button. Eyes looking down. Good. Keep imagining that those ribs are lifting higher. Feeling the rotation of your arms connected to what's happening underneath your sternum. Feel that as you draw the back of the head a little bit back, chin down, feel that at the back of the sternum as well. So all of these movements can really connect you to different places in your body. That's it. Flexing the wrists, stretch the fingers out just a little bit more. Your last breath here. And on your exhale, slowly soften down. All right. For our next one, we have 3 more to go. You're going to take your legs forward in space and bring your heels close together and with your feet. So you're going to stretch your legs out straight forward. And with your heels close together, you're going to externally rotate both legs and then draw your heels a little bit up so you have a long diamond. Good. So your outer knees push down towards the floor, your feet are flexed, and this time your arches are going to push towards the floor. So they're going to push away from your inner knee. Good. And growing taller from your sitting bones. Let's take those arms up to about a 30-degree angle. So not right to the ears, but not necessarily 45, somewhere right in between there. And as you press the outer knees down, you're lengthening up through the ribs. Imagine that you're lifting even the organs here. So your stomach inside is lifting, the lungs are kind of lifting here, the inner throat is lifting, the brain is lifting inside, like everything is lifting, and from your breastbone down, a lot of things are lowering down. So you're going to feel your sitting bones getting heavier and your outer knees getting heavier, and you're going to reach those arches forward and the palms out for the last 2 breaths here. On your next exhale, letting everything soften and taking your legs straight forward. This time you're going to separate them so they're hip width apart, and same thing, externally rotate, ankles flexed, and draw the heels up higher this time. And your heels are going to be the width of your sitting bones. So you have like about, yeah, perfect. And making sure that the outer edges of your feet aren't necessarily resting on the floor. They're going to stay at the same angle as your knees. Good. And the arches are rolling forward. Taking your arms forward in space. Externally rotate, open up those fingers. And to pulse the arms as you stretch up, feeling the movement inside behind your breastbone. And eyes are rolling down. This is your L4-5. And as your outer knees are pressing down, you're finding your lower and upper abdominals. Slightly drawing that T-spine forward in space and the C-spine just a little bit back, and then reach the crown longer and taller. Good. Just slightly taking the arms a little bit closer to the ears, ever so slightly, straightening through the elbows. Last 2 breaths. And on your next exhale, you're going to soften it all down. And you can make your way to whichever vertical surface you're using for your L5-S1. So once you're at your vertical surface, You're going to take your sitting bones right up close to whether it's a wall or the back of a door. It could be the back of a couch. You're going to take your sitting bones as close to that vertical surface as possible and your legs straight up. Take a moment to look down and check that from the pubic bone, drawing a line up that vertical surface, your legs are equal distance from that center line. And feel yourself that your whole torso is lengthened down on your mat, but also lengthening out to the sides from the spine out towards the left and right. And then giving yourself a little space between your legs. Turn your legs in together. Push up through your heels. Flex your feet back and turn your toes towards your belly button. Feel your sacrum on the floor, your sitting bones reaching towards the wall, and your heels reaching up. Ground your low back ribs and ground your scapula, your shoulder blades. Let's take the arms up straight up to the ceiling and then grounding the scapula, the shoulder blades, the back of the head. Take your arms down beside the ears. Let them hover just a little off the floor. And let your eyes roll down to look towards your cheeks or down towards your thighs. And as you push your heels up, you're going to push your palms back and your sacrum down. You're going to feel your pelvis broadening out to the sides, to the left and right. You're going to feel a nice feeling of easeful power in your body as you go, as you stay with it, turning your legs in, firming your thighs, firming your triceps, externally rotating your arms. Stretch out the fingers and turn your toes towards the belly button. Keep stretching that tailbone to the wall, crown behind you, eyes looking down for the last breath. And when you're ready to, now slowly, slowly soften your arms, soften your spine, legs, and let your feet come to that surface, bending your knees, and letting yourself slowly roll out to one side, all in one piece. All right, so coming to seated, give yourself a little roll the head down to the front and gently to the right and to the left, seeing how you feel. And then making your way back up to standing. Finding your feet on the floor again. And feeling the power in your spine, maybe the extra length or tallness that you feel right now. Take one more breath in over the head, reach your arms up, and exhale, relax your arms down to the sides. Good. Make sure you drink lots of water, and you can always do an extra L5S1 at any time, especially before bed is a really good time for L5S1. Have a good day, and remember that various different kinds of movement are very good for your fascial system. And you can dance and jump on a trampoline, do some skipping, anything that's sort of different. So find some things that you love to do and just keep moving your body and taking little breaks if you have to do a lot of sitting at your job or your desk. And take little breaks to do some rotations through your arms and legs and keep yourself moving. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.